Hello everyone and welcome to this maker workshop. So today we are going to make the gorgeous double daffodil, and I did save the easiest for last. It has a lot of I don't know,
volume.
Fluff.
Yeah.
Yes, it has a lot of volume and fluff, not as much detail, but there is I don't know, it just works really well with the other two flowers that we've made this week, and it looks pretty gorgeous in the bouquets.
I agree. I love this flower. I think it turned out so beautiful, and I'm really excited to learn how to make it.
And it's a very happy flower.
It's so happy.
Yes,
nice
it
and
is.
ready for spring.
So we're doing this live, so as you are watching, if you have any questions.
Yeah, feel free to put any questions you have related to this specific flower in the comments section with a big capital Q, and we will get those answered for you as we work. And if you have any other questions related to any other projects or previous flowers, just put that in the comment sections below, or feel free to email us at hello@leahgriffith.com.
And we will answer all of your questions. So just to let you know, we have Virginia in the house. She's the one that's answering our questions today, and you'll notice her adorable accent, and we'll just let you know right here now. She is from New Zealand. So that's what you're going to hear calling out your questions today.
And I do have to say, we've got someone here, 4 a.m. from Australia.
Oh.
So welcome to my
Man.
friend down under.
All right.
Thanks for being with us today.
I know, you're so sweet. I love it when people, make the space and time to show up here with us, because this is so, we've had so much fun this week.
It's been a really fun week.
Yeah, it has been. All right, so let's get started with this. I'll show you what tools and materials we're using. Today I am using the Daffodil Kit, and in this kit we have the tape and we have the wires, and the tape I'm actually setting aside. We'll be using the tape for the bouquets, but for today we don't need that. So the colors that we have going on, we have our white, or we call it linen sometimes, linen or white. We have our chiffon and then the tangerine. Those are the three colors that we've made these flowers out of. You can use different tones of white. I think we have the vanilla. You could use vanilla if you wanted to. I'm trying to remember, we could use poppy. That's a much brighter. You can use either of those if you want to. And then of course our greens are the Cypress and the Juniper. And we're using the Cypress in some of our other flowers. We used the Cypress yesterday, so you feel free to mix and match. Now all of these are extra fine. So if you are using your own crepe paper, try to make sure you use the extra fine crepe paper to get the same result. All right, so
we have a question on that.
Yes.
Kathy is asking if you could use heavy crepe paper.
I wouldn't recommend it for this flower. If you do, I would stretch it out a bit before you cut it, because it's going to get really bulky with the heavy crepe paper, and you'll see why. There's a lot of crinkling involved with this flower. I wouldn't recommend it. If you do, like I said, I would stretch it out at least 50% before you cut it, and then try that, because it will lighten the paper up. The wires that we're using today are the 18 gauge. Sometimes I get my 18 and 24 mixed up. This is 18.
Yes.
Okay, and then we also have the PanPastel that we used on the anemone, and this is the red iron oxide tint, and we'll be adding a bit of color. You can see it in this pale yellow. Maybe you can see it. We've added a bit of color. I can see it. I'm not sure the camera can see it. In the center, so that it adds a bit of dimension. I'm using, of course, I always have my scissors on hand, my small scissors. I always have my needle nose tweezers on hand, mostly to peel off of the mat. I have a paintbrush, the wire cutters, and today we are actually using a hot glue gun. And I have low temp here for Emily, and my fingers of steel will be using the high temperature. So that is it for today. I'll go ahead
And no, we're not using any balls today.
no balls today. Yeah, this is a very simple flower, and I love the idea of combining it. I grabbed these here just for except for when they have bent stems, it's hard to pull them out. Okay, these are actually such a beautiful combination. We've cut this one short because it's in the bouquet, but what a beautiful combination to have an arrangement using both. We're not using this style today or this week, but how beautiful in the future to do a double daffodil and then a traditional daffodil.
So perfect for spring.
Yeah, it is. Daffodils are like the quintessential spring flower.
I know I have a bunch in my garden that have popped up.
And did they get snowed on this last week?
Yes. Fully crushed.
All right, so to start the flower, this is very important, and I found this out about 6 flowers in. Go ahead and take your wire, and you'll take about, I would say, maybe not quite a 1/2 inch. You can, if you want to, a 1/2 inch, and bend it down. And this wire is so stiff that it's hard to get flat, so that's fine. I'll hand that to you. So you want to have that bend. I had quite a few flower heads pop off while I was working on them. Wasn't a pretty sight.
And this just helps grip the paper a little bit.
It does. It just gives more surface so that it doesn't slide off as easy. We have 3 sets of petals, and I have here my large, and there should be 6 large. I'm going to let you sort yours. I have my medium here. Looks like one got moved over. So there's 6 medium and 6 small. The first thing that I'm going to do is take my centers. I have 2 of these centers, and I'll go through and just stretch each of these little tiny fingers to give it a ruffle. Virginia, feel free to shout out questions anytime.
Okay, I did have one question. Kat has asked, will you please share visuals of the materials you will use tomorrow for your demonstrations, including the pillow forms and chicken wire? I don't know if you have those to hand today.
I could do that. I actually have 2 of them sitting here thinking I forgot to grab the pillow form, but we can because they're right up here. Yeah, we know where they are.
We can go over that at the end.
Yeah, we can go over that at the end. And also, I wanted to mention to you guys, yesterday I did say something about adjusting the pattern so that the black center is smaller, and I went ahead and did that. I also shortened up the center French piece, so those patterns have been updated. I also added a small circle to the anemone, the ranunculus, both of them. so I updated those yesterday. Okay, so those are done. This is what it should look like. So you can see just a bit of ruffle. I'm not stretching anything down here. I'm just stretching the bits on top. Now I'm going to take each one of my petals, and you'll notice on the petal there's a rounded side and then a pointed side. Rounded side is the tip, this is the base, and I'll go through and very gently stretch the top of the rounded side, and I'm doing this at about 100%, so I'm stretching it without ripping so that it looks like this. And I'll do that for all of my petals.
And while you're doing that, there has been another question which you might come to later, but M has asked, I'm using vanilla and I'm planning on adding color to the center with PanPastel. Should I do that before making the flower or after with a brush?
So all of the flowers that we're making, both of them, including this one, we'll add the color after, which I love doing the after coloring because it's just so fun. Once this is all made, we'll bring in a brush and put it in. So go ahead and make your flower. I think vanilla is a great color for this as well. We're not making it for this bouquet, but it's a good one.
We did add the color before yesterday.
Yesterday we added the color before, but today we are adding it after.
Especially when it's just on the tips of the petals instead of underneath things that you're trying to work on top of, like yesterday. Would have been hard to get it under each petal.
Which I have done it before though. And also, if you're using vanilla, I think this red iron oxide tint is a perfect color for that. I love this color. Again, we used it yesterday, and it's a bit peachier than our pink. It has a bit more yellow undertone.
And there's no glitter.
And there's no, it's a flat color.
And then we have a question from Marion. Was the center supposed to be cut on a fold? Mine look too short.
No, your centers, I have 2 pieces, so they're both the same, and they're about 4 inches long. So if yours, you can measure and see if yours are 4 inches long. If you cut them by hand, your templates should be, make sure when you print your PDF templates that you print them at full size. Sometimes some printers automatically make it fit page, and so it makes them a bit smaller. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to put my phone on silent. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Okay, now it's on silent. No more of that.
Gives me a chance to catch up on my ruffling.
Yeah. So you can double check your size. The original flowers that I made, I think it was maybe the first 6 were actually a bit smaller, and then the second I made them a bit larger. So if you have some variation in your size, I think it's okay.
Yeah. Well, these ones are pretty
This is the
big,
larger,
so
yeah.
I feel like a little smaller would probably
Would be
look
fine.
nice also.
And they do come in you know, variations of size in nature as well. So, yep.
Yeah. I think
How
it's
you doing with your
interesting.
stretching?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. We both have
Different
a different
techniques.
technique. We've gone over this before, but I always find when I do your technique that I'll get little pinch marks from my fingernails. So I usually will stretch it over my finger instead. Like
Yeah,
over the
that's-
top of my nail instead of
See, I'm not even touching my nails on them.
yeah, I don't know why. I always have a hard time with the way that you do it for some reason.
I love, everybody finds their own technique that works. Okay, so I'm on my final set, and I'm going right ahead and stretching those last petals. This is actually a very simple flower. I think the hardest part of this flower is I'm using hot glue and I'm getting my fingers right up in there. So that's why a low temp might be better for some of you who
Yes.
have more sensitive fingers. These fingers have been crafting with hot glue for a long time. So.
And Kathy has said that I borrowed the Stamen Fringe SVG from the California Poppy for my anemone and it worked well.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, the fringe for the anemone from yesterday is updated. I made it a little bit smaller and shorter so it fits. And really, it's just
Just a strip.
It's a rectangle, so yeah. You're done. What? How'd that happen?
It's my
Okay.
my technique.
So here we go. We're going to take, yours is hot and ready?
I think so.
Okay, we're going to take we're going to take 3 of our smallest pieces.
Oop, there she goes.
Okay, and I'm going to put some glue on the base. I'm just going to run a line of
Smallest
glue.
pieces.
Yeah, the smallest of the 3 petals. And
I'm gonna watch you before I do
so
it.
I'm actually kind of folding it over here and placing it on my wire. And as I'm placing it on my wire, I'm using my fingers to bunch it up. So this is where we're getting all up inside of our hot glue, is we're going to use our fingers and ruffle each piece as we place it on. So I'm doing my second one, and I'm trying to, as best as I can, make this somewhat in a triangle again. You know, you're working on a flat-ish wire, so that's kind of harder. And I'm bunching it up.
And you're putting these how high on the wire?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want your wire to be seen, but at least, you know, work on that fold piece
Okay.
so that you have
stability.
more secure. Yeah. And then here's my third.
I do have a question here from Raquel. How can I tell if the files I downloaded are the updated files?
Download the most recent ones and double check them. I don't know how else to say it. Sometimes I have
if it
to.
doesn't have the circle on the anemone.
On the ranunculus didn't have the circle before, but now it does. The anemone, how did I change
you
that
just
and
made
update
the
it?
circle smaller.
I did make it smaller.
So they're small updates. But yeah, just go ahead and download the new pattern from where you downloaded the old one.
And you can double check them.
Yeah.
All right, so here's my center, and you'll notice that one of them is a bit higher than the others, and I probably don't want that. It doesn't matter because at the end you want it very roughly and a lot of variation, but that's kind of what it looks like. So you can see how there's 1, 2, 3. This is not a real picky flower. You don't have to be.
But I can definitely already feel that bulk building up. And
Yeah.
I'm only 2 petals in.
It will get bulky. That's why I was saying it's probably best to use extra fine. Okay, now I'm taking my first strip and I'm adding some glue. I'm going to go about 1/3 down because I don't want this to cool too quickly. I'll place that right at the same point. You can see, whoops, let me see here. You can see I'm placing it right at the base there. And then I'm going to pinch it as I move it on. So I'm creating this little ruffle by pinching. You can do it either way. I think I let it set too long. You have to work quickly so your glue doesn't cool.
Especially if you're using a lower temp hot glue gun.
Especially, yeah. So again,
And you're just doing this right around the base, the same.
right around the base.
Okay.
And you can see how I'm folding it back and forth. You can either fold it back and forth like I'm doing here. I'll show you the pinching again. For some reason, at this moment, the folding seemed to work better than the pinch. So there's the fold. You're just sort of back and forth, back and forth. So you get this beautiful ruffle. And there's layer number 2. Then we'll go back to our smallest petals and add 3 of those. And again, you can see, let me show you a close up here, how my glue is just right there on the base. And then I'll place it onto the side. Hopefully I didn't talk too much. And just pinch it so that it gathers.
And we're using our small petals?
There's
again?
3 small petals, yes. And I'll do the triangular method again so that I get them spaced out nicely.
And are you're still doing this right on the base, or are you
Nope,
lifting
right on the
these
base.
up a little more?
Nope,
Okay.
right on the base. Yeah, I'm not moving up or down. I'm keeping it all at the same level. Once we get to the bigger petals, we'll start moving the petals down the wire so that it covers all of this mess up. By the time we're done,
Okay.
it will be smooth and beautiful.
Perfect.
All right, so there's layer number 3. Now I'm going to take the second set of ruffle. Whoop, I'm trying to follow the camera angle here, and do the same thing. So add some glue. And then I'm placing it right at the same spot. It's beginning to get wider. Wow. Okay. It's beginning to get wider at the top than the bottom, so you just kind of work with it. And this is another reason why we need to gather and ruffle so that it doesn't make the top too tight. We're really wanting to create that, I'm trying to think of a word here. Anyone? Kind of
Openness?
that splay.
Yeah.
So the more ruffle you add, the more splay. Now you can see why if you don't put that bend in your wire, this will pop off because you're sort of pressing on it. And here is your center. That's the center of your flower. So the next set, this is where it's going to start to look really pretty.
I think it already looks pretty.
This is the last of the gathering. So we don't need to gather anymore. I'll take the next set, and I'm not stretching any of the center of the flower, just the very top. I'm placing some glue, and I like to turn it over for this round, and I'll go ahead and put that point right against the wire and let it fall down on the edge. And I'll do that in a triangle again, so 3.
And someone is just asking if they can use tacky glue rather than hot glue.
You can use tacky glue, but be really careful on your top
Sogginess,
section
for sure.
that it doesn't get soggy. Yeah, so be careful not to use too much glue, but you could probably do it if you have the patience and time.
Okay.
So here's 3.
So I'm just doing 3 right at the base.
Yes, and no gathering. We're just placing them nice and flat.
Here's my center.
Gorgeous. Yeah, and you can fluff it out with your fingers if you'd like to. You can do that at any point. All right, so here's my center with the 3 next set of petals. And then we'll go ahead and add the next 3 in between. Again, just matching up at the base. I like to do these upside down so you can really line them up nicely. And you can see how it starts to just fold over, and we're making this beautiful cone on the back side. We'll be opening these petals up a bit once we're done as well. All right, now we have the final 6 petals. And I'm placing them, I'm placing the petals so that they fall between these last two. So let's see here. So there's the medium-sized petal. So the point of my largest one, I'm having it fall right between. And again, it's so much easier to see that when you're doing it upside down. Really easy to follow.
All these glue strings.
That is something I don't miss when I'm using the other glue. Oh yes, and by the way, everybody, if you don't have your glitter glue, your art glitter glue, we are back in stock. So go grab that. And then my last three I'll place right smack dab between. Now we're about out of that glue here in the studio, so I'm so happy that we're gonna restock.
Yeah, we've been going through it so quickly.
We have.
I've been using it on my embroidery projects also.
Yeah, and you need to stock up because they only ship during certain periods of the year when it's warmer. So now is the time.
See how beautiful the back is now? It's nice and clean. Which will make it easy to add the stem wrap. So that's the next thing we're going to do.
3 left. You're so much faster than me.
I've been doing this longer. Right, so I have my Cypress. You can use Juniper or Cypress, either one. And I'm going to cut a small strip. I'm finding that I'm preferring my strips to be a bit narrower than wider because I feel like I have more control. So just FYI, this is about 3/8 of an inch. Okay, guess what? I did not put the white glue on the table today, and we need it to wrap our stems. So let me grab that for you.
And in the meantime, I'll pull off all my hot glue strings. Ta-da!
Okay, I'm not
Ooh,
sure where
it's
I
so
put it.
beautiful. This one, I love this flower, and I like how easy it is.
Yeah, I think I put the glue away, so we'll share.
It's fine.
Okay. We're trying to be more organized in our studio. Now that we're all coming back to work, this one doesn't have as much.
So Elena has just asked, where did you place the large petals again, please?
So the large petals,
1, 2, 3.
yeah, you just do them in triangles again. The first set, I was stating that you want to place it between the layer prior. So this would be the medium petal points, and then you'll set your next one between that, and then you do it 1, 2, 3, and then again 1, 2, 3. So you do triangles and then a triangle again, so that you space them between.
And the size of the petals, I feel like it just perfectly lays where you can have a triangle 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it becomes really easy by the time you get to your last.
And then I just stuck them right in between. You can see the ones underneath.
Yeah. Okay, so let me do this real quick, and then you can take it. There's not a lot of glue. Hey, Virginia, can you order us more glue for this?
There's actually some on their way.
Yes. She's the one that orders our stock for us, since she manages
Keeping us
the
in
shop.
crafting. We can keep
Yeah.
crafting.
Yeah. Right, so I'm going to wrap this. I'll turn it this way so you guys can see it. And I'm finding, I'll repeat myself from yesterday, that when I pull this all the way so that we have 100% stretch on that crepe, it goes down very smoothly. And also putting the glue on the wire works the best. And after many stem wraps, I'm getting pretty good at it.
Yeah. I tend to have a hard time keeping that angle consistent, and I end up getting lumps, but it's not too noticeable.
It takes practice, yeah. Also, I was going to note that, daffodils do have a thicker stem. So if you wanted to thicken these stems up, one of the tricks that I do is just multi-layers of this, crepe paper, or you can also do stem tape, the actual floral tape, and then cover it.
What about a thick-stemmed wire?
You could use a thick stem wire as well. All right, so there I am, and I'm going to show you the back of this. I forgot to show yesterday's, so you can see the back. I barely, passed over the top, the white, but then it just moves down the stem. And that's all we'll do. You know, some of the daffodils have these beautiful, see if I can find one here. Oh, she put sepals on these. That's interesting. Daffodils don't usually have sepals, but what they do have are these little bits that kind of flare out. Well, oftentimes we'll do those in gold crepe paper. They're not going to show so much with these flowers since they will be deep in a bouquet, so I didn't do any additional detail on that.
Right, they're so open to these flowers.
Yeah. And then we also have the daffodil leaves that already, you guys probably already watched the video where we showed how to do all the greenery, and the daffodil leaves are included. Okay, I'm going to start adding PanPastel. I'm going to fill up my brush quite a bit. I like using a brush, not a sponge for this. And I'm using my number 10 brush, my round, and this is something that we sell in our shop. And then I'll just get my brush right down into the center. And I'm doing this backwards, so I have to look over in the camera. And I'm only going to add color to the center, not to the outer petals, because we want to give it that variation and that gradation. You can add as much or as little as you want.
I'll use this bigger fluffy brush.
You can do that too. I like the small one because then you can get it down into the petals. So good luck with that. All right, so I'm going to look at this. I think I can add a bit more. And once I'm done, I'll just give it a nice little...
I've got gravity on my side.
Do you? Okay. I really love the way the pink changes the orange, and I really love how the pink PanPastel changes the yellow. It adds, I'm just going to add a little bit more in here just for fun. So there you go. The other tip that I wanted to point out too is in the videos for the greenery, I was making the leaves separate so that you could use the stems. You could use the stems in bouquets, but you could also go ahead and add the stems to your wire. I think I would use a thicker stem if you're going to add the leaves to the wire. That's what I meant to say. One more tip, one more final touch. If you'd like to, you can go ahead and pull these outer petals, these 6 outer petals, out a bit. This is a look that you'll see with these, and you see them both directions. You see them so they're a little bit more closed, or if you want to have one a bit more open, you just kind of snug those out.
That's pretty.
And that's it. There's the daffodil.
Gorgeous.
Any questions, Virginia?
No more questions, but
Okay.
I did just want to remind you of the lady at the start who'd asked about the stuff for tomorrow.
Yes. Okay, so for the bouquets, we have a little gift for you guys. We actually have 2 videos and we've pre-filmed them because doing a bouquet live, I have found I get really sweaty. It's so hard. There's so much pressure because it's a lot.
Well, we took a long time too making those bouquets. That
Yeah.
would have been a very long live stream.
Could you grab, there's a basket up there that says, it's actually over above the felt. So for the bouquets that are up and ready for you guys for tomorrow, Emily did hers in this container and I did mine in this container. And I went ahead and put in the main tools and materials list, I did give you measurements for all of these, and I also gave all of the extra tools and materials. So you can go back to the tools and materials that's above all the videos and find all of that. Thank you. All right, then for my basket I used this floral cage, floral pillow, I call it both, and you can find these on Amazon or at a floral shop, but let's see, this one's a little over 6 inches. I think I forgot to put a link, but I'll do that. So I used that, and then we had Emily use the chicken wire, and you can get chicken wire at any
Local hardware store.
your craft store.
And this one's nice and fine. It's easy to bend with your fingers.
Yeah, I like the craft store version. You can also get on Amazon because it is softer, because no chickens will actually be held in that wire. And then the last thing that I used for the other bouquet, which I think I'm actually going to pop up and bring it over, I used this waterproof floral tape, but you can use any tape, and I used this to attach the pillow onto the container because I used an actual ceramic. Do you want to grab it?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Okay, it's just right behind you.
And the nice thing about these containers is that you can use anything that works. You don't have to worry about water. There's a hole in this one, and that's totally fine.
So we basically recycled the flowers. This was both sets. We pulled the two arrangements apart, and then I made this as the final bouquet just to show how you can make a really dramatic arrangement.
Oh, she's on the other side. Your lady.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is the back side. Some of the flowers I actually pulled out because they're
So
sitting
cute.
here to show you guys, so I have to replace those. Yeah, but I liked this vase. So this is a pedestal vase, and I liked the height to give a little bit of a different look. And you know, if you've watched any of my other bouquet classes, I usually do I'm like hiding behind it. I usually do an arch or a triangle, and so this one we're doing something different where we do an off-centered, asymmetrical, linear bouquet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to have you guys check out those videos tomorrow. I think that both bouquets turned out really fun and different, and I think they are so fun.
Yeah. So anyhow, is there any other question out there?
No. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, Sandy's posted a queue, but no question.
Okay.
No, there are some questions. Michelle has asked how many of each flower.
So I'm guessing the small bouquets, we did 6 of each flower in each bouquet, and we did a half bouquet, so the back side it wasn't a 360. This one I actually used all 12 of all 3 flowers, and as you can see, I pulled a few flowers out of here for the demos, but I'll put those back in. But it's a 360 bouquet.
So 6
And I
of
also
each.
and I also used all of the greenery. No,
Okay.
12 of each.
to 6 of each.
6 of each and then 12 of each. And I know this is really ambitious, and it's a lot of flower making, especially when it comes to those ranunculus. But who knows? I think there's some of you out there who have that ambition.
Yeah. And I can't wait to see the arrangements that everybody makes.
Yeah, make sure you share them. # made with Leah.
Awesome.
No, that's it. You
That's
guys.
it.
Yep. No,
All
covered
right.
everything.
All right. So enjoy tomorrow. They're all pre-recorded classes. The last 2, we will have the first one available for you tomorrow at 11. So the smaller bouquets. The larger bouquet will be available possibly tomorrow, or maybe next week. We're still in editing for that bouquet. We've had a very, very busy week. So Brittany's still working on that. Yeah, I think that's it.
Well, thank you so much for coming, and hope you
Yes.
enjoyed. I had a great time.
Yeah, it was fun. Oh, I remembered one more thing. Since we're not doing the classes live tomorrow, go ahead and put in your comments and your questions, and I will be there at that time actually looking. You just put them into the comments of the YouTube. Someone will be there on YouTube. There's no YouTube. There's no YouTube. Sorry. So it's actually in the actual class itself. That you can watch those, but go ahead and put in any comments or questions, and I'll be there answering the questions for you as well. Okay?
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, you guys. We will see you tomorrow.
Oh.